Hello and welcome into Thursday morning's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks, and I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host for the Sun Devil Insider Podcast. And I'm so grateful to be joining you today once again. We are now just 2 days away from Arizona State facing off against Iowa State in what is sure to be a heavyweight battle. The Cyclones are coming into this game uh, on a little bit of a cold streak. They've lost three in a row. The Sun Devils have lost two of three, but the one win was against a top 10 team in the nation in Texas Tech. Uh, Rematch of the Big 12 title game in 2024. This season, the stakes aren't as high at the surface, but head coach Kenny Dillingham of the Sun Devils and Matt Campbell, the head man of the Cyclones, have both stated that this game is much, much bigger than anyone is letting on at the surface. It's two frustrated teams trying to get a grip back on their season after some untimely losses. The Cyclones have lost to Colorado, Cincinnati, and Brigham Young since their 5-0 start. The Brigham Young loss probably was the most frustrating of all of them, although all of them were frustrating as they were ahead of BYU, and then BYU stormed back and won by 2 touchdowns. So both teams are very, very frustrated right now, and Arizona State and Iowa State both have significant injury issues, as Iowa State's starting cornerbacks are out for the season with ACL injuries, I believe. And the Sun Devils, the injury fortune in 2025 is unfortunately much, much, much different than a season ago. They missed Sam Levitt for a game last year. They missed Keyshawn Elliott for a game. And they missed Jordan Tyson for the postseason games after injuring his shoulder in the final game of the regular season. Those are really the only major games that were missed due to injury. Cam Scadaboo missed a game as well against UCF. So those are really the only major injuries they dealt with last season. This season, missing Xavier Alford since the Texas State game. So he's been out well over half the season. Zach Swanson has only played in one game this season. Kyson Brown has only played at full capacity in one game this season, which was the season opener. The tight end group has been on the injury report off and on this whole season. Shimon Mateer, Kamari Anderson, and Cameron Harpole. Ben Coleman suffered a season-ending injury against Utah. Cyrus Viaseu suffered a season-ending injury against Baylor. Boogie Wilson and Ghost Rouser have both been on the injury report on and off. This has just been a nightmare of a season. Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson have missed games now. So this has just been a kind of worst case scenario season so far for the Sun Devils. And that's crazy because they're still sitting at 5-3. They're one win away from bowl eligibility, and if they win their last 4 games, they might have a chance to play in the Big 12 title game still. That's the crazy thing. They are still doing great this season despite the frustrating losses to Utah, Mississippi State, and Houston most recently. The only thing that I can say about that situation right now is that success is not linear in college football. Even if they finish the season 8-4, get a bowl game like the Holiday Bowl or the Sun Bowl, that's not necessarily a bad season. It's a disappointing season, but Kenny Dillingham is still building something great in Tempe. The future is still bright, and Sun Devil fans should still feel confident about the trajectory of the program, despite maybe not reaching what you thought you were going to reach this season. That's all I can say about that in that form. I mean, look at Alabama under Nick Saban. They didn't start winning national titles until year 5. I mean, it took a. I think they had won 7 games in his first season. Then they really took the step forward, just like Dillingham, but they were never able to get over the hump until several years in. That's just college football. The growth is not linear. It varies from year to year, and that's really what's happening right now. You were never going to have perfect injury luck. You were never going to have a schedule line up exactly as you had hoped it would. but the program continues to battle through, and I have nothing but respect for Dillingham and the rest of the program. But that leads me into discussing how they can overcome some of these injuries. Jordan Tyson doubtful for the game as of the injury report or player availability report coming out on Wednesday night. How do they overcome the loss of their top two players on the roster as a whole, not just the offense? It's not going to be easy, but like I said, Iowa State is battling through injuries themselves. Their defense is unique in the form that they do not create a lot of turnovers and they do not generate a lot of pressure. But Arizona State's offensive line is also in flux. They played very, very well against Texas Tech, but they struggled a little bit against Houston. Makua Pule and Wade Helton are both centers, but Wade Helton is currently playing at left guard. He pushed Obigbo back to the bench. Realistically, the Sun Devils have to play through Raleek Brown. It has to be through Raleek Brown. Uh, Raleek has had a little bit of a slowdown in the last couple of games. He's gone down from about 6.5 yards per carry to about 5.8. And at the moment, he is on pace to clear 1,000 yards on the season. But he hasn't been as gaudy stat-wise in the last two games. Like I said, he did average 5.8 yards per carry against Houston, but he only took 11 carries. I think that in order to win this game, you're going to need to get a 20 to 25 carry performance from him for about 100 to 120 yards. I think that you're going to need Jeff Sims to be at his best in the +1 game. I think you're going to need to control the ball, control field position, control the clock. All those things are very cliche, but Iowa State, I have a feeling that Iowa State's offense, if they get the ball too often, that Rocco Becht and Abu Sama and some of these talented pass catchers will have more propensity to beat them. That's not to say Rocco Becht is not prone to make mistakes. He threw 3 interceptions against BYU and arguably was the reason why Iowa State gave up that lead. It's just Arizona State's defense is beat up as well. You just kind of have to play the cards you're dealt. And this is very much a Raleek Brown, Jeff Sims run the ball game. In terms of receiving, Malik McClain, Jaron Hamilton, and Shimon Mateer are probably the 3 guys that you have in mind to get the share of targets that Jordan Tyson would normally get. Mateer particularly because he's just that secure, sure thing underneath guy. Jeff Sims and Malik McClain have a great relationship as well. They are very good friends. Does that play a hand in Malik getting targets, the chemistry being good between the two? That's a wait and see. Defensively, you just got to do what Brian Ward just has to do what Brian Ward does. Call pressure at the right moments of the game, right situations. Disguise coverages, confuse Rocco Becht. Put your playmakers like Martell Hughes and Keith Abney in position to make plays. Even if Iowa State gains a lot of yards on their drives, bend don't break brand of defense. Make them, like I said, play the field position game. Make them drive 80 yards on you. Make them drive 75 yards on you. Make them drive 90 yards on you. And typically when you force a team to do that on the Arizona State defense, they get stopped at one point or another or held to a field goal or a turnover is created. So I'm still giving Arizona State a chance to win this game. Obviously, it's less than ideal circumstances, but I'm still very much a believer of Kenny Dillingham. I will always be a believer in Kenny Dillingham and his staff and the team. I've seen too much from this team over the last 2 years to write them off in any scenario. But as for now, those are kind of my keys to the game, I'd suppose, when it comes to dealing with the injuries that are currently plaguing the program. And that's really all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's edition. And I will be back on Saturday with a preview of the Arizona State Iowa State game in more detail. Thank you so much.